Yo, it's Ethan McKinley's Questionable. Hit the music. Ba, 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 ba. Hello, Jeremy Bulloch. How are you, sir?
Very well, thanks. In this sunny, freezing cold weather. But
Yeah, as well as everyone listening, this is we're speaking to Jeremy Bulloch, a stalwart British character actor who's had an illustrious career. You're kind of the Forrest Gump in a sense of movies. You've had so many, like, I guess, cultural touchstones that you've been involved with. You've been in Summer Holiday with Cliff Richard. You've been in 3 Roger Moore Bond movies, to name but a few. Omen 3, 2 Doctor Who's, which we're going to get to, of course. But I guess we need to talk about the elephant in the room before we get started. The thing you probably hate talking about after 35 years, maybe. Jeremy, of course, was the man behind the mask, the man that played Boba Fett in The Empire Strikes Back onwards, essentially. Jeremy, welcome to the show. How are you?
thank you very much. Very well indeed, actually.
Yeah.
As I said before, the weather's crisp, but the summer's on its way. Yet still, I keep being remembered about Boba Fett, and it's still the smallest part I've ever played in 50 years.
It is,
but,
yeah. Well, I was going to say, was
cover
that...
your face and you become famous.
I was thinking, actually, when did this begin to take off? Obviously, Empire Strikes Back was a big deal. It was a sequel to Star Wars, of course. You must have known what you were getting involved with, but...
No, I mean, the thing is, you saw the film, and I thought, that's quite fun. I haven't got much in it, but that's fun. But when they re-released the films, on the big screen, which is a rare thing to do, what was amazing, we said, hey, saw you in Empire Strikes Back. Wow, Boba Fett. Hey, Boba Fett. And I thought, well, I'm hardly in it, but the lovely thing is you can sort of talk about it all the time, and people saying, he said something. And it was just, I think luck of the draw of the day.
Is it a kind of a blessing or a curse in a sense? Because as you said, it is the smallest part you played. You've been in so many wonderful roles over the years in all these amazing things, all through the 60s, even the 50s, I'd rather. Starting with A Night to Remember, I think, the Titanic movie.
Well, even 50s, that Titanic, I was actually an extra, really. You don't even see me in it. Mm. And there was one late afternoon where I had to sort of dive in the water because it was looking at me. And I didn't even think about, well, that was fine. That was a couple of days. I think it was one day in the end. But I said, well, I never saw you. I said, well, you didn't. I mean, they had some children in that sequence with the Titanic as well as. But, it's funny that you get known for, you were in Titanic. No, not the one you think I was in. It's in the one, the smaller one, black and white.
Not the Leonardo DiCaprio one.
Oh, no, not quite. I didn't have his moustache.
Oh, well, it's still a classic film, though, nonetheless. It was a great start, I think, for any actor, and I think any I myself am an actor. I'd be happy with even 10% of your output. You've been involved with so many remarkable films, but as I said, this character, in a sense, even though you're hidden behind this mask, has kind of cast a shadow over your whole life, in a sense, the last 35, 36 years. Has that been a burden sometimes? You have to keep...
No, I don't think it's a burden. It's a good question because people think, don't you think you should move on? And I said, what do you mean, out of our house? No. Move on. You should be playing big roles. I said, well, no, you play what comes along. Mm. Sometimes, in many sort of dramas like Casualty, you're playing different parts. And right from 12 years old, I've been playing different things. Mm. Instead of saying, would you take that role? It's not a big role, or this is a big role. Do you think you should do it? Yes, you go for a job, and if you get it and you feel right, you do it. Yeah. And then suddenly you're back working again.
Mm. Yeah, it's this kind of I know this life myself. It's like this hand-to-mouth existence. It's just, it's strange, this character, in a sense, that you were kind of completely hidden by. Has kind of gone on a journey with you through life, and I guess you still do all the celebrations for the Star Wars. You meet all these fans, you go to signings, memorabilia shows. It's taken on a life of its own outside of acting, in a sense. Is that
it has. That's right, Ethan. It's taken a life of its own, and you get invited from virtually all over the world. South America, where I remember we were in Uruguay, and the kids were sort of looking there, and they were pushing the ball at me. I said, this is almost a professional soccer. These kids, 3 of them, just walk rings around me. But so I've had great fun with it, and Maureen and I travel, and it's an adventure. People say, "Why do you go?" I said, "It's an adventure." You know, we never get a chance to go to South America, Peru, all over, and they invite you, and you know, I just think I'm terribly lucky.
Well, it's almost like Boba Fett's captured you and put you in the cargo hold to do a famous and taken you across the galaxy with him. It's it's such I can't imagine what it's like, but it must be such a strange thing to be so associated with such I guess the most iconic sci-fi character. He's up there with, I guess, Darth Vader, Mr. Spock. I guess there's been more him and Darth Vader, perhaps the most merchandised character item on the planet, I assume.
That's a good point. The merchandise comes into it as well. I just wish, you know, they gave me 10% of all merchandise winnings. That would be great. But it is merchandise-wise, because the outfit is fantastic. The jetpack and just little tiny things that people collect. I mean, I've collected a few things because it's quite nice sitting talking to you, and there'll be maybe, let's see, you know, there's this thing.
Yeah.
So when
that's the Boba Fett pop figure, isn't it? Yeah, the Funko one. Yeah. I was just going to say, if anyone's actually listening to this and they can't see the video, this, of course, is on YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes, go to the YouTube channel. Jeremy is in literally a room full of treasures. Star Wars Boba Fett. There's a life-size Boba Fett standing just over Jeremy's right shoulder.
And occasionally, if I'm speaking too much, that gets off that platform and comes down and leans forward and says, "Get on with it." So, you know, so I have to be under control.
Is that a standalone figure, or is it a costume on a mannequin?
No, it's a costume, and I remember, you know, it's on it's heavy. You can't lift the thing, and I got it years ago, just to say, "Would you like one?" Well, you have to pay for it. And I said, "No, I'm quite happy with that." And it's quite nice that it's standing, waiting for you. You know, if you're misbehaving, then it starts to move. And
does it ever get you? Do you ever throw it on and go out to dinner in it?
Sorry, say again.
Do you ever throw it on sometimes, go out to the shop or go to dinner in it?
Oh, yes.
Do you know who I am?
Well, you're obviously going to be a comedian when you're acting. I can see that.
Well, you know, I like a bit of a giggle. I certainly would do it. You've appeared on camera, though, in Star Wars, in The Empire Strikes Back. You were obviously the Imperial officer, and then later you played, I think, Captain Colton in Revenge of the Sith. So you have been seen on screen in a sense, I think.
But it's funny because on the day there was a nice atmosphere when you're working, and the system director would say, "Jeremy, get change. We need someone here for this Imperial officer. Dash in there, well, quick as you can." So I got changed very quickly, put the boots on, and suddenly I was Lieutenant Shekel.
Sure.
And I thought, he said they didn't have anyone available on that. So to keep the whole momentum going, would you mind? And I said, fine, you know, that doesn't matter to me. And I thought, oh, perhaps I just did one shot with Boba Fett, and now I'm going to do the rest of it will be this,
playing different smaller parts, yeah.
Yeah. So that was done, and then Captain Colton in the older films, they asked me again, would you do this? And George Lucas was there, and it was great. I said, oh yes, I'd like to play another part, which was again very quick.
What was George like to work with? Did he change at all from the time you last saw him, perhaps in the other film, to the 2005 one?
No, a lot of people said, you know, how was George? And I just found him, you know, shy in a lot of ways, but very nice to me. And he said, thank you for doing this for me. And I was sort of virtually saying, well, thank you for doing me. Different outfit, but thanks for being part of me doing this thing. And there was a lovely atmosphere. A lot of friends of mine played Imperial officers. You know, it's a lot of theatre actors going in, sometimes working at night, as I was doing, as well as working during the day.
Yeah.
So really, it was 24 hours a day.
Very tiring. Right? Yeah. Wow. That's. I remember it was big news when you got cast in Sith as well. Because I used to read like the Star Wars Insider and stuff, and I kept up with all those things. And I was like, oh my God, Jeremy's in. We're going to see his face again. So it was kind of big news if you're a Star Wars fan. But if we kind of go back before then, how did you actually get the part? Did you have to audition for it? No.
The lovely thing is, Star Wars is possibly the only film I've done that I've not had to audition. Mainly because my half brother, Robert Watts, who's well known in the business as well.
Well, he's producing Empire, wasn't he, at the time?
Yeah, he said there's a couple of days coming up in this thing, but you have. I said, but I'm in the theatre. I'll never get back in time. He said, well, if you can fit it in, it'll be a couple of days, maybe a day. I don't know, but because it was lots of these funny costumes, so I did it and dashed to the theatre. And they said, well, make sure you're back again. Have you got another day? I said, yeah, I have one more day. So it was a very strange few days, and luckily they allowed me the time to do it.
Yeah, of course. Did you work with Robert prior to that point leading up to Empire?
No.
Because he became, I think he was associate producer on Empire, wasn't he? That was like a big step, obviously, for him being a part of.
And it's the Indiana Jones I can see behind you. That was his biggest thing, working with George Lucas again.
Yeah.
Or beforehand, but he just said, while you're here, and he was working non-stop.
Yeah.
He said, come along, I'm sure we'll get something for you. Why not? Keep it in the family. People say, well, they shouldn't do that. I said, well, yes, they should. But I'm an actor as well. I'm not just asking for a feed out, much as you like.
No, well, no, I was just going to say, like all these great parts you've done, before all this began, you went to drama school, did you?
Yes, I went to Corona Academy.
Oh, nice, okay.
At the age of 12. And my father was furious at my mother because I failed every exam I took.
You sound like me.
Somehow wasn't interested, but became an actor fairly quickly, and that's when I was hooked. I wanted to play football, be a good player. I wasn't a bad player, but it was sort of, there's not too much hard work, I thought. Of course, that does get harder and harder as you become older, and you have to start thinking of how you're going to perform here. You're going to do a lot of plays in the West End. That was fun because I suddenly thought, I'm up here now, and I'm now doing the proper stuff.
I'm doing it. Yeah. I've arrived. So how did that work? You started. You went into film, I guess, right, or television first? Because I'm looking at your resume here. You've got apart from Summer Holiday, we've seen you in Doctor Who, Thriller, which was like that mid-70s kind of like Tales of the Unexpected type thing. You've worked on Dr. Finley's Casebook. Did you just build up from small parts? Were you doing theatre as well, or was it an intersecting thing? You were doing both at the same time. By the time you got to Empire,
I was doing both at the same time. I was doing theatre at drama school as well as things. So they were getting you on a job, and it was the kids series. I did 4 films about kids people 14 and going, "Oh, look, he's over there. Be careful. Shh." Lots of that sort of.
Is that Billy Bunter?
It's Billy Bunter of the Greyfriars School. That made me laugh. I have to say that we had such fun doing that. Loads of different actors all became quite well known.
Well, Summer Holiday, I guess, was a big deal at the time because I guess Cliff Richard, who's still obviously very world famous and things, but at the time he was like a white hot celebrity in a sense. What was it like being this like young kid on this set with all this pop star and this like crazy bus and things?
I know the mad bus going down to Greece, and it was just there was a chaperone, who was a male chaperone who was on the technical side, and he had to make sure I behaved. And I never understood that, but I was 17. So I suppose I don't go wandering off in Greece. And Cliff did a special event where there was a party. We were on a boat going Port Piraeus, and it was just fantastic. And he just said, enjoy it. And he said, I want you all to sing this particular number. I said, well, we'd never be able to do that. But it was just a fun film to do.
Has that kind of stayed with you throughout the years, like I guess Star Wars has, in a sense that because obviously Cliff is still like what would you call it, an icon, of course. Does Summer Holiday keep coming back as well? Is that something?
People say, saw the other night, Jeremy, we're all going on this. I said, thank you. I'm not doing anything. Sorry, carry on. That stayed with me because it was just a fun. I mean, I don't know, 5 weeks altogether. Just superb.
What was the most stressful, or what are you most proud of as an actor? Obviously beyond Boba Fett, but like pre or post Boba Fett, what are your favourite roles that you've played?
I think the one that I remember really well was Dangerous Obsession. That was up in the West End, and I was in it for a year.
Yeah.
In between doing a few bits of Star Wars, but that was an awful lot taken out of you, because I'd come home and there's just 3 of us on stage, but in the scene I come home, lean forward and said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I'll tell you what I'm doing." And he brings out a gun, this man, and my wife is standing there. And it just, a thing of virtually not saying anything at all, building up this horrendous man that's suddenly arrived. And the tension, and you could feel the curtains close at the end of Act 1 and just suddenly going, and that, on stage, you felt the nerves, and who is this man, this guy, and a bit strange. And that was the most difficult piece to do, to keep it up. So, and then I did that on tour as well for a year, and then went on holiday and said, right, wonder what the next job's coming, and it was another play. I just wanted to say, but you could, I just wanted to say, can I have a break? But this was another play, what every woman knows. So, you know, I think I've had a terrific year, and if it all ends tomorrow, so be it, and have more time for the grandchildren.
No, of course. Were there any lean times as an actor? Were there any times when you were about to give up or quit at all? Or?
But yes, there are times I say, like, this is it. But luckily, I taught myself how to paint. Not artistic painting, but people's houses.
Sure.
I used to do them up and fix them, and, you know, to keep going, because you have to. You don't go, oh, I can have a nice break now, but no, you've got to finish and have a couple of weeks and go straight back into something.
Sure.
And that's what I used to do, decorate.
Do you ever get recognised? You're doing someone's skirting board, and they go, "Excuse me, are you the boy from Summer Holiday?"
Oh, look, it's Jeremy Bulloch. There's a lot of people who say, "I know your face from somewhere, I can't think of the words." So I said, no, I'll have to work out. So I don't go on anymore, but it's gradually. You could
use Boba Fett's helmet as a painting bucket and go, see?
It's a good idea. I'll start today. No, but that would be a good idea. Fixing paint and then up. But I think everybody should have a go. You know, if you're out of work, and if you can do it, then you must do it, because you're saving that gap, and gradually you're out of work more and more and more and more, and then it becomes difficult.
Sure. What do the kids think at the time when you were like doing all these like this? I suppose as an actor, it's kind of a strange life in a sense. If you got children, especially so, because you kind of like you're over here doing this, you're over there doing that, then you're this, then you're over here, then you're traveling for this. What do they think of you being an actor when they were young?
Basically, I think they're very proud, because they'd see I'd still have time to go and see the boys playing football at the weekends, at school, cricket during the summer, and I said, yeah, I'll come. And luckily, the boys one played rugby, one played cricket, so you could do the seasons. You know, you must show interest in the kids, you know, playing, plus their work as well. And now the grandchildren, it's moved on again. So the grandchildren now get the preference.
Do they have any aspirations to be actors?
I think there's Jossie. Jossie's the one who goes, oh, and he starts quoting things and being funny. He's the one that I would think, and the girls are all very good. I mean, I have 10 grandchildren.
Wow. Oh my God. You've been busy, Jeremy.
Yes, I know. But they're great. They're you know, if there's something, there was a show on, and she plays the clarinet, the eldest granddaughter, not the eldest, let's remember, there's more. And playing the clarinet beautifully. So they're musical, their dads both musical, and one's a translator, German, was my son. So they're all busy, my children, and grandchildren are feeding off and being quite good at a lot of stuff. So I'm very proud.
I was going to say, you worked with on Hoffman, which was the Peter Sellers movie, right?
Peter Sellers.
So I tried to find it, but I couldn't find a copy anywhere in time to speak to you. How was Peter Sellers?
Oh, he was fabulous. I mean, that at lunchtime, you finish for lunch, and he said, are you doing anything for lunch? It's Peter Sellers. I said, well, not at the moment. I thought, no, come on, let's do it. And the bird flies away.
So he's doing the goons, basically. He was being Blue Bottle.
Like Bentine and the lot. No, but he said, let's practice some funny voices. Huge fun. I spent a lot of time filming, and he was a riot, absolute riot.
Yeah, I think sometimes there was the movie about his life, but I think they portrayed him as quite a difficult man. But I watched the documentary recently, and he wasn't like that at all. He was just slightly misunderstood. Was he difficult to be around?
He was misunderstood, if anything. He was an absolute delight.
Yeah.
He'd say, like the way you're doing this scene, but don't shove your elbow in front of me because the camera's on me. Don't forget that. Right. You know, fun, but very professional when he's working. Now, you work with people that want to say, what was it like working with so-and-so? Like Roger Moore. Again, the nicest man in the world. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've worked with some fabulous people.
Yeah, you have. Well, you were Smithers, of course, in 2 Bond films, and then you were, oh my God, what's his name? Crewman Andrews in The Spy Who Loved Me.
You've done your homework. No, that was, they very kindly sort of said, Jeremy, nice to see you here again, as Smithers. But in this one, you're not Smithers, you're Captain, or you're sir.
Andrews, yeah.
Andrew, the naval, I can't remember now. But they said, we'd like you to come again. And there's not a part as such, but would you like to be involved? I said, yes, I'd love to. And that's the lovely thing. I think if you've done your work properly, you get the rewards in the end. Just being invited for just a few days.
Yeah, right. It's great because you were assisting Desmond Llewellyn in some of his crazy inventions. So you become this. In other films as well. Like I said in the email I first sent you a couple of weeks ago, I saw Omen 3, and then you pop up in it. And first.
Do you know? Here's one for you. What film is it? Play It Cool. Can you remember who was in it?
No. But what? Play It Again? No. The film's.
Play It Cool.
I don't know.
Play It Cool. This was Billy Fury, the singer, terrific singer, rock singer.
Yeah.
That was Play It Cool. So I played his drummer.
Ah.
I've never played the drums before, but I tended out because I know what I'm doing.
Wow.
Virgin and the Gypsy. Did you ever see that film?
No.
That was another film I did up in Derbyshire. That was great fun.
See, I tried to immerse myself in a bunch of films. The things I've seen you in, obviously, are like Boba Fett. Well, as I looked into it years ago, I discovered who you were. But as I started to watch films, your face would start appearing, like Omen 3. Weirdly, one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen in any film is Oh Lucky Man, which really bothered me for many years because I saw it as a kid on late night TV.
A lot of people said you've affected my life.
Yeah, it's one of the most horrific things I've ever seen on screen. You play like the pig man in the hospital in Oh Lucky Man.
Yeah, Oh Lucky Man, the pig's body.
Yeah.
What they did a plastic piece around here with stitches on my neck. So I'm standing there. And they used to feed me with a straw at lunchtime. So I did, because if I got up, the whole thing would collapse. The special effect.
The prosthetic on the neck.
Yeah. It's just stitching going there. And it was just a strange piece. Lindsay Anderson would say, right, off you go. Okay, action. He said, you know what to do. And I did this sequence where I had the board and going, play it cool. No, not play it cool. Well, no, that's the other films there. Care for him. I can't remember the quote I said to him. He was, but that was another piece, just looking, just pushing. And being part of, Lindsay Anderson said, I'd like you to do this, Jeremy, take your time. And I went up to Leicester Square one night at 20 to 11, coming out of the cinema, and I had a sandwich board like this. Try your luck. All right. And he got me, because he didn't like what was happening the first bit. So he got me back in the morning to be ready for 10 to midnight to do this one scene. And then I went home.
What was he like to work with? Because that became a trilogy of films. It was If, Oh Lucky Man and Britannia Hospital. What was Lindsay like as a director? Was he, because he's very iconic, obviously.
Terrific as a director. I enjoyed working with him, but I didn't do any more. I didn't do Britannia Hospital because I was on I did another film, I think. There were many more films in this round about my age, so there's an awful lot going on. So,
was it as difficult then as an actor as it is today, or was it a bit like the old studio system where you had all these like great shows like Doctor Who, the ITC programs? You've had this like run of work.
I think it's easier. I don't know. That sounds funny. It's easier, but hard to get easy.
Yeah,
it's strange. That's strange to say.
You need your first three kind of jobs to happen, and then it kind of dominoes.
Yeah. It's like when I'm doing a soap opera, the newcomers for 3 years. I thought, I've done it. I'm going to be stuck here, and I'm going to be doing nothing.
Yeah.
But luckily, I came out just before colour television.
Sure.
So they were stopping it anyway, and so I came out, finished, and then got involved with different plays. Doctor, what was the one you said? Doctor.
Was it Carry On Doctor?
Carry On Doctor.
Carry On Teacher. Sorry, Carry On Teacher.
You hardly see me. I was an extra part, and then the Lancaster Bombers. We did that. I did 3 episodes of that. That was fun. And then Robin of Sherwood, I enjoyed. That was 2 seasons.
Oh, I remember that. That was great. That was a fantastic show.
That was huge fun.
Yeah.
So I just think I'm blessed, if we can use that word, that things came up at the right time.
Yeah.
But,
well, you've done 2 Doctor Who's, haven't you? It's William Hartnell, I think. Was the other one John Pertwee?
Yeah, William Hartnell. That was and then John Pertwee, the Time Warrior.
Yeah. And I think, Doctor Who is obviously global now because you've got BBC America, so the Americans are kind of hooked into it. But even then, I guess it was the biggest thing to be involved with at the time, right? Television-wise.
Yes. The amazing thing is these different events. I remember going to Detroit, and they said, "You'll be over here tomorrow, Jeremy, and then we'll do question and answer if that's all right for you." I said, "Yes, that's fine. No problem at all." So we arrived, a nice mug of coffee. You're going to say hello, and there's a line of people. I said, "I'm not here for Star Wars. I'm here for, oh my God, I'm here for Doctor Who. I can't believe you with a bow and arrow. Oh my." So that always makes me laugh. Never take things too seriously.
Well, I suppose it's nice as well because you get a break from. I was going to come back to this. The Star Wars issue, as an actor almost, it's like doing a play every night. You have to keep it fresh, but you get, I'm sure, asked the same questions day in, day out. Especially if you're doing like a several days at a convention, the same question comes up. How do you keep that fresh or not go crazy or strangle the nearest person?
No, it has to be fresh for the person that comes up. May have travelled 50 miles that day. Also, he's never met you before.
It's a big moment for them as well.
He's just got that one question, and I think you've got to be. Well, actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So you almost attack him verbally. You say, "Good idea." Do you know? I hadn't thought of that. When we were doing. I was playing Hal the Archer with the thing. I was there with the bow and arrow. I thought, you missed that. And they love it. They cannot believe that you've travelled all that way.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, while you're there, Mr. Bulloch, I'm a huge fan of Boba Fett. But I love Doctor Who."
Yeah.
And they even talk about the Bond films as well. So if you have a mixture, you can talk for 20 minutes. And then they say, "Jeremy, could you get on, please? Come on. We need you. You've got to go and give a talk." So there's a talk on stage as well. So you never stop.
Yeah. Is it? How long do the conventions go on for every day? Is it like a 9 or 10 hour day that you do, or is it like a certain allotted time?
It's a long stint, but they're very good at saying, "Right, okay, everybody. Jeremy, you want to go 20 minutes? You have a 20-minute break." And they bring you nice sandwiches and coffee, and then you're back again. And then there's Jeremy, could you go into the Doctor Who area first, then go to the Boba Fett area? So you're known for both, which is good. And occasionally you get someone who says, "I saw you in the Bond." I said, "Well, it's not very much." "Oh, yeah, I love the Bond." So you've got a sort of mixture of 3 then. It's like making an omelette.
Sign these 3.
Sign these 3 now.
Yeah.
So no, great fun. It's funny people say. My agent has sort of said, "Jeremy, I don't understand why you're going off for the weekend because there's an interview for next week. And they're absolutely right. But I'm getting on in years now, and I do want to spend a bit of time with the kids. My son and his wife, they're off somewhere to the theatre.
Sure.
We can look after them. And I've been terribly lucky. I really have.
Now, you've got a book.
Boba Fett. Sorry.
No, please do. I was going to say, your book, Flying Solo, is that out of print? Because I tried to find it, and the cheapest one I could find was like $200.
Well, it's 2,000 copies, and it's sold out. I mean, I was amazed how quick. And lots of lovely pictures from, me playing cricket and lots of. It's a fun. But I might release about another 15 books, but you have to look on them.
Well, I'd imagine that would be quite a good revenue generator if it's that popular. Maybe like.
I mean, the good thing is it went very well when the 2,000 copies. So people would wait for you to arrive at one of the events and say, "Can I have? My goodness me, can I have 2 books? One to Lawrence, one to John. And how do I pay?" I said, "Well, you can pay me in dollars or PayPal, I don't know." So the book went really quickly, but I wanted to make it like a limited edition rather than just going 5,000th book. Here we go. It was 2,000 copies.
Yeah.
That was. A lot of people ask, especially when you go to places like Mexico, we don't get a chance. It's no problema. It's mucho gracias.
Yeah, the internet and stuff.
So I might release. I've got some books, about 12, but that will come up on the website.
Well, I suppose maybe you could do like any publisher, do a second edition in a greater volume, do 20,000 maybe. Which it's not like the hallowed green.
But, we can. We at the moment, because my son will probably go through it, and because he's a translator, so he's very good at knowing what to put together. But I might do a special read one. I don't. What do they call that?
I guess special edition, second edition, maybe.
Yeah, but one where it's done. You listen to the book. It's a reading.
Oh, an audio book. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
That you could. I
do that.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was
a young boy called Jeremy.
Sorry, I lost my lines. So there's a possibility I'll do that, but people will know well in advance.
What's the most bizarre thing you've had to sign, Jeremy? For anything?
I think the funniest thing and the most bizarre thing was when someone said, "Hey, would you mind signing this?" And I sort of looked like that, and there was this leg, a real proper leg, and what do you mean? With the Sharpie, could you put Jeremy Bulloch, Boba Fett? I said, "Oh yes, sir." Jeremy Bulloch, Boba Fett, very, very neatly. I said, "I don't go and have it. I know there's tattoo artists here. Don't start doing all that." He said, "Oh, it's great, So anyway, I forgot. The next day, this you could hear. So, "What? Go show look!" Laughter, jollity, and the guy came up and said, "Could you see this?" And there he was. There's this sizzling flesh, where he had it done by a brilliant tattoo artist. He had the whole body of Boba Fett, and then my Jeremy Bulloch
signature was tattooed on later.
Yeah, and it was tattooed factor, and it does look good. I mean, but not a thing that I would do that.
So what's next for you, Jeremy? You've got anything coming? Have you any fan films? Are you going to do anything like that, or anything like TV or film coming up?
Those fan films come up every now and then, and if it happened, I will probably do it. There's one they've done, 1976, Elstree. That was a mixture of different actors going in.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I've been trying to find it. Where can you see that?
I've been trying to find it as well. No, it's a piece that they wanted to do about what it was like 1976 and all. So I've yet to see it yet. So that might be going around the circus.
Oh no, that's really exciting. I remember because Tim Dry, who played a few of the characters in Return of the Jedi, mentioned that as well. Who was a previous guest on the show.
It's probably Elstree 1976.
Yeah,
something like that.
No, I should seek it out. Where can your fans find you, Jeremy? Are you on Twitter?
No, not on Twitter, because my wife is fast, pacey, types genius. Right, so I leave her to do all of it. Yeah. You can see jeremybulloch.com, jeremybulloch@tiscali.com. I usually do a story and update, but at the moment, if you're away for a bit and the kids are ringing around, you suddenly catch, well, we've got to catch up with this. This is going to take forever.
Yeah.
So you try and reply to people as much as possible.
Yeah. Social media is it's very, I think, because, I mean, me especially, I'm kind of that post-computer generation. Kids grow up with iPads in their hands now, of course, and stuff, and phones. They're so fast with them. But I think if you're post that generation, I kind of like have missed that. So I find social media kind of bewildering and strange and difficult. You have to constantly keep on top of it. It's very...
Well, I'm not very good at the typing, because I go, what do I do here? And my wife goes, no, leave it to me. And then one of the grandchildren come in and go, and that's it. He's just done it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's left me behind. I much prefer the days of picking up a phone, put an old 2 pence in, push a button. Yeah, hello, I'm down at the bottom of the road. I'll start walking up. Okay, fine. It's much quicker.
How did that? That's an interesting.
1958.
Interesting question. How did you contact your agent? How did you have contact between them when there were no mobile phones or email? Was it just they'd pay phone or check in every week, or how would it work?
People walked. They actually walked to get. Sometimes they say, "I'll pick you up. Give me a ring." Okay, but suddenly you think, "Oh no, I'll walk." And it's sort of 2 miles. That's what you used to do.
Did you not miss out on any acting jobs because your agent couldn't contact you there and then for a part? How did it work without mobile phones or email?
They'd always, your agent always found you if you were you'd leave a message to say, I'm available for this. But the only thing my agent does now is just saying, come on, Jeremy, I think you ought to do it. Mind you, you've done it all, haven't you? And I think, if I don't work, I'm sure something will come up that I'd love to do that. It's 2 days or 3 days. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I have then plenty of time to see the kids on a football field, or the middle one who's 30, just doing Japanese now, which is interesting.
Oh wow.
And so he's doing terribly well at school, and the others. There's a lovely mixture. That's what I love about the kids. There's a total mixture. One's doing this, one's doing that, and all totally different. But they ask each other for advice. They say, what about this bit? Can I do any? Yeah, okay. Oh, thanks. Okay, be back in a minute. And they help each other.
That's cool. So what's the next convention where people can perhaps find you? What have you got coming up in terms if someone wants to meet you, for you to sign anything or like do a face-to-face? What's the next big convention you've got coming up?
The next big, well, I'm not sure how big it's going to be, is Brussels.
Right.
Which is this weekend. So it's weekend, and then I'm going to America.
It's very exciting, Jeremy, I have to say.
It's like mark things down and make sure you...
I would say slow down, but it kind of like, it keeps you... you're loose and moving and alive, but your life, and it's very...
Yeah, you're right. It keeps you moving, keeps you... And I'm going across the common, which is a long way.
Sure.
And I just walk. I'll pick up a paper, and you go to the far side. That will take you 40 minutes. And then back again, maybe 45.
And then off to Brussels in America.
Because I'm not playing soccer, and I played soccer twice a week. One for a Saturday gang, and then there's lovely this film. It was Dennis Waterman, The World Cup of Captain's Tale, 1912. And the interview that I had was a game of football. And they say, just play, we'll see how you are before we ask you to read the Geordies. And so I did the thing, a couple of goals in the top corner. I said, all right, so go over there, go and have a pint of beer, and then we'll interview you work-wise, talking. So you have to walk like this. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not doing that. I'm coming away, and I have to go and get the ball, and if it's not in the net, I'm not doing it. So something like that. So they said, well, your football's better than your dialogue. So I got the part as the big centre forward.
I was going to say, before we wrap up, I was going to say thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming on.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's been really great. It's been wonderful to talk to you. I'm sure the fans are going to be enraptured by this story, because I think it's nice to hear the stuff behind the mask, essentially, the stuff that's not just Boba Fett. I'm sure it's enjoyable for you not to do such a...
It is nice to be Boba Fett in a lot of ways, but it's also being a family man with children. I couldn't work out if we didn't have the kids. It's fantastic, because they said, well, we're just going off to the other ones, my sons they live locally, but they're all 5 miles there, 6 miles there. So, it's great for the kids. And then suddenly out of the blue, we'll say, do you want to come round for dinner tonight? Mum will do the cooking then. And they're both good chefs. I mean, really outstanding. So they'll say, no, we'll do it. Here we go. So, well, I think I'm very lucky with all the kids. And the ones in Ireland as well, the family there. So there's quite a bunch.
And your double life as the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy.
I'm as weak as a kitten.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Boba Fett would be traveling the world and doing all this crazy stuff that you do, Jeremy.
I think you could see him just stroking the cat.
Yeah. With his feet up and his helmet on. Okay, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on, sir. It's been really wonderful to talk to you. Hopefully, if you're at a convention this year in England, I'll...
Yeah, well, you're going to get into the big event in the summer.
Well, I contacted Showmasters last year, but they never actually replied. I actually wanted to kind of do like a live pod there with a few of the faces. I was going to gun for you. That's why I messaged you like last summer. And kind of Showmasters kind of didn't ever reply to like several emails or something. So I was like, okay, I'll just kind of like go to the people directly over Skype. But it would have been nice to actually do like a live one with an audience perhaps, or just MC and speak to someone great like you.
It's difficult because a lot of people haven't heard, but there's so many people wanting to come.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. There's a million people just constantly. I know it's not. I don't think it's out of malice or anything. It's just they're just too bloody busy.
That. It's just that if they say yes and then to somebody else, it's going to be difficult. But I mean, half the people say, "I'll see you at the special event," but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. So there's nothing UK for you coming up as yet. Don't know.
I still don't know whether I'm going to go. If I'm not invited, obviously I don't go.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but I've been lucky. I've been to virtually every single event.
Well, I was gonna when I see your name pop up, I'll check your website, of course, and I'll come and see you and give you a big hug as a thank you for doing this. So yeah, there he is, Jeremy Bulloch, everyone, the man behind the mask, Boba Fett, with an illustrious acting career. Sometimes in the shadow of that, but I think we've peeled that back slightly today and found out about this wonderful life you've led and still do. I think you probably lead more of an exciting life than any member of your family.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's been a pleasure, sir. I'll see you in person hopefully someday this year. I'll give you a big kiss. Thank you.
Be on the dark side.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
See you later, Boba. Bye.
Take care.